everyone. Welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today I have a special guest with us. He is a author and a horror academic all the way from the UK, and he has a book out right now. You can find it on Amazon or wherever you get your books, and it's called Poltergeist. I have with us Rob McLaughlin. Rob, welcome to the Horror Room.
Hi, everybody. Lovely to meet you all. How you doing?
Pleasure. Good, man.
Hope you're okay.
Yes, I'm doing great, man. Doing great.
Fantastic.
I mean, listen.
That's cool. Okay.
Listen, I'm talking horror, man. That's always fun, right?
Yeah, we're here. You know, I'm in the UK. I'm over here. It's tea time on a Wednesday. Let's talk horror. Let's go for it. That's always good.
Yes, let's do it. So you're a horror academic author, and you wrote a book called Poltergeist, which is all about Poltergeist, which is your favorite horror movie. Tell us a little bit about that experience and the book.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Probably the same as everybody else is watching this. I watched horror movies far too young, which is probably most of us have done that. You know, should we go to the video shop and buy this? Yeah, we bought the thing we shouldn't have bought, and we kind of mums and dads are doing something else, and we're watching horror movies when we shouldn't be. Again, I grew up VHS culture. That is my thing. It's my thing. It's kind of like I love VHS movies, and I love the fact that all these kind of films that came out in the 80s. You know, I'm just a big advocate of kind of 80s horror movies and things as well. So I loved horror, growing up with horror. Drove my parents crazy with things. Yeah, can we go and see this? No, you're 12. Can't go and see this in 18. Oh, but it looks so good. No. So all these kind of things are kind of horror related. Horror magazines. Fangoria, we used to get Fangoria in the UK, which is, you guys get it much more than we do. Horror channels a little bit as well. But yeah, the UK love horror as much as the US do. We are massive horror aficionados over here. But a few years back, I went to a conference. I met a colleague at a conference, a guy called John Atkinson, and John works for a range of books called Devil's Advocate. And Devil's Advocate are a line of books produced by Liverpool University Press. So over in the UK, different universities have different presses. Again, the same as probably as the US, where each university maybe has its own imprint of books and it has its own kind of range of books. But Devil's Advocate is a line of books designed from Liverpool University Press, which deals specifically in horror. So there's about 50 books in the range, and they do one about The Thing, about The Wicker Man, about Blood on Satan's Claw. So everything horror related. So Omen, all those kind of bits and pieces. So I talked to him and said, just over coffee, just having a chat. He went, what do you like? What interests have you got? Why are you at this conference? So the usual kind of things over coffee and a chat and somebody. I said, I really want to write a horror book. And he said, well, do it. Write a book about things. You're a university lecturer. You've got the insight of how things work. There's nothing stopping you from writing a book about any movies you want to write about. We've not done this, and this. What were you thinking about? And I went, thinking about Poltergeist. Because Poltergeist says, yeah, it's great. Yeah, amazing first movie, fantastic second movie. There's a third film, I guess, that exists.
I've never seen the third film. Yeah,
honestly, not missing a great. It's not that bag of shit, basically. I love the first one. It's great. It's great, and it's horror, and it's Spielberg, and it's amazing and very kind of suburban and beautiful. And then you've got Kane in the second one, which is just it's one of the best bad guys ever. Next to Pinhead. He's up here with kind of top tier bad guys, and then there's a third movie. And the third movie sucks balls. It's not great at all, to be honest. And I'm sorry for the Gary Sherman who directed it, but how do you direct a film when your main antagonist is dead? That sounds really bad. And not a good movie. But anyway, and I also like the fact in the third movie, like the parents are totally sick of Caroline, and they're like, just go off to aunt's and uncle's house. We're sick of this shit. Disappear, which is because it's not in the same house. It's not in the same family. It's like, how do you write a movie where you let a 12-year-old kid go off and live with their parents, aunts and uncles, and it's like they're not even in the same film plot. It's a bad movie. So again, anybody who's watching this, I'm sorry, it's a bad film. But it's not good. So yeah,
I'm going to say there's. I'm thinking about the top of my head, like, what horror series that had a third movie where the third movie is actually good? And the only one I can think off the top of my head is there's two actually. Dream Warriors, which is in the Nightmare on Elm Street series.
Dream Warriors, it's an amazing movie.
And like that's my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, it is. It's mine as well. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and then this is not my favorite, but I'm gonna get shit for this one. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. I
It is.
actually enjoyed that one.
I prefer, again, please don't, the internet, don't kill me for this one. I prefer Season of the Witch to the other ones. I like the notion of this kind of weird, the Silver Shamrock stuff is just amazing. And I think probably that's because it's the first one I saw, again, probably too young. And I prefer those than the other movies. And I don't know if if you didn't call it Halloween, it wouldn't get so much shit. And I think if it was just a standalone horror movie, if it was just Season of the Witch, it would be far better, and people would take it far more as a good movie. And it is a good movie. It's a really good movie.
It is. Tom Atkins is great. He's amazing in it. And I can't think of the guy who plays the villain, but he's fucking amazing in that movie.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I'm not being funny. Tom Atkins just going, I'm going to go off and shag her and have sex with her and drink whiskey and shoot stuff. Tom Atkins in 80s movies, he's just the best. You're just going to go.
It is.
I wouldn't trust him and your wife, but he's great, isn't he? Just a badass. It's cool. I suppose the only other thing I can think of, the third one is quite good, is From Dusk Till Dawn, and that's not too bad.
I've never seen the third one. So
it's good. It's all right.
Okay, so
it's not too bad. Yeah.
Because I love the first two. I love the first two.
Great movies. Yeah, they're really good. I mean, I think they're overlooked. I think because it's so Hollywood-y. So for the first one being so big and so Hollywood-esque, I think people forget there were other films that are in the sequels, and they're equally as good because, of course, they're all straight to video, and that's not a bad thing. But the second and third movies are pretty good. I think the fourth one's not too bad either, really. So I'll advocate if you guys haven't seen. Yeah,
I didn't even know there was a fourth one.
Yeah, I think it's a fourth one. I think it's Hangman's Daughter, or something like that, I think, as well. So,
okay.
Possibly. Oh, another one. It's a threequel, so that's the thing. Exorcist 3. So Exorcist 1's pretty good. Exorcist 2's awful. And Exorcist 3.
Yes, Exorcist 3 I liked. Yes. Exorcist 2 is awful. Part 3, yes. I agree.
It's the one with the shears.
Yes.
That's good.
Evil Dead. I'm gonna get shit for this too. Army of Darkness is great.
Army of Darkness, a great movie, hour and a half, stop motion animation, Danny Elfman soundtrack. Yeah. What you can't get wrong with that, can you? Really?
No, and you could really see Ash as Ash in this movie too. Which is great.
Have you seen all the endings as well for that one?
No, they're just multiple.
Different endings for Evil Dead 3. There's the one where he wakes up. Yeah, there's one where he wakes up too late. So he drinks the kind of, he's not paying attention, so he drinks the potion at the end. The idea that he'll be buried in his car and will go off into the future and wake up, and they kind of time it, and he has to have like 3 drops of the liquid to go to sleep, and he has 4 because he wasn't paying attention because he's Ash, and he has 4, so he wakes up in the future. And there's the other one where he wakes up in the normal time, but he's in S-Mart, and he's fighting a demonite in the supermarket at the end. So there's 2 different endings, depending on which version you've got. There's 2 different endings to that movie, which is kind of good.
All right, so now I'm going to research that. Now, listen. Now, Rob, I tell you, we're going to go off in tangents and rants. Now, why do you think? I mean, you're a horror academic. Why do you think that? I mean, I know it's money, but has there been a horror movie franchise or series that's been over 3 movies that all of the movies have been consistent, or at least good?
It's kind of a tricky one. I mean, I love, you mentioned before, Nightmare on Elm Street. The first one's fantastic. Second one's great, totally gay. Third one is an amazing film. I just love the first, because the third one is perfect. Me as a 15-year-old me watching that and loving the nurse and loving the kids, and just it's an amazing movie. But I think they progressively get worse. But I think the gradient of that goes. It's not like it goes okay, and it doesn't. It teeters off towards the end. But I think compared to something like Hellraiser, which has an amazing first one, an amazing second one. Third one's pretty good and high blockbustery. Then they just kind of go crash and burn. They're purposely bad to keep the franchise going. But you're right. I think Halloween does. I think Halloween Psycho gets weird after a couple of movies, but a lot of the B movies that started off as B movies and stayed as B movies stay progressively consistent. So I mentioned the fact that I love video shops and of that generation. When you get to kind of the high level horrors, and you start getting to the B movies, like the Richard Band stuff, the Charlie Band stuff, all the kind of the B movie
Full
things.
Moon.
Yeah, it's the great movies, and I think really, if you start off up here, and you kind of here anyway. So Demonic Toys, the sequels of those are really good, and they're great movies because you know you're going to get an hour and a half of 15, 18 horrors, a bit of gore, boobs, and it's done and over, and it's not a massive budget. The animators are saying that each of those movies are watchable and highly watchable.
Puppet Master.
So yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love Puppet Master movies. They're great, and each one introduces a new toy, and there's a new guy to go. Oh, that's my favorite. Now that's my favorite one. And they get again. They are, they're not massive films, but you'd sit there and watch Puppet Master 4 because why not? Because they're not bad movies at all. So yeah, they're not. Halloween's just crash and burn. But I think if you start really high, I mean the 3 Omen films are really good, and they all stay consistently good. But anything franchise-wise, I think you're right. Once you get to about 3 or 4, unless you're kind of doing something different, I think you're right. It gets a bit samey. But if you Charlie Band and knocking films out for $250,000 a time, then I don't care. I know what I'm going to get, and I know I paid $1 for that, or 50p, or £1, or whatever it could be for that movie. And a kind of a bottom shelf of video shop. I know if I'm going to buy Demonic Toys 4, it's not going to be amazing, but at least it's going to be fun. I know exactly what I'm going to get, sort of thing. So yeah, or Phantasm, or some of those.
I love Phantasm.
Phantasm. Yeah, even those you kind of go, well, I know what I'm going to buy. I know what I'm going to get. I'm not going to get $25 million movies. I'm going to get a $2 million movie, but I'm going to get a Sphere and the Tall Man, and I can watch 1, 2, 7. Maybe not the last one because that sucks a bit, but all those other films are relatively great to watch and stuff. Because
even like Sleepaway Camp, which is a low budget, they're low budget movies. They're all watchable except for that last one. But they're all watchable. I mean, they're all watchable. You know what you're coming into. You know you're going to get okay, almost like porn acting. You're going to get some tits and ass. You're going to get some great kills, and you're just going to get a simple story.
Yeah.
And it follows through. Now, one franchise that I love the villain. I love Jason Voorhees. But I cannot say that the Friday the 13th series franchise is one of my favorites. I can't even say that even 50% of the movies I find enjoyable. There's only like 2 or 3.
Yeah. I like them. Again, somebody said, which are your favorite franchises? I've got to say Hellraisers or Nightmare on Elm Streets. Halloween's and Friday the 13th, they're good, and I'd watch them. If somebody said, do you want to watch Friday the 13th part 4 now? If you want, I don't mind. But they're my favourite bad guys. They're not my favourite villains. I know you're right. You're going to get tits. You're going to get explosions. You're going to get good killings. You're going to get it's fine. You know what you're going to get. But they're not. If somebody said, pick your best franchise, they're kind of down the bottom a little bit. Not because they're bad. I just think it's personal choice. And some people absolutely love them. I've got friends that go, this is my favourite franchise of all time. But same with the Saw series. I'm not a big fan of Saw, in all honesty. I mean, they're fine. But I don't like. They're very clever, but I also think they're very gratuitous and kind of a bit excessive in some ways. But people absolutely love Saw movies, and that's great. Each to their own. But I would rather go. Would you rather watch? If somebody said watch a trilogy of movies, would I rather watch Phantasm, Nightmare on Elm Street, Exorcist, if I have to watch the second one, or Halloween? I'd rather watch the other ones and not Halloween. It's not because I don't like them, but I just think personal preference. But it might be the mood you were in when you watched them originally, or it might be that I prefer Freddy rather than Jason. And I do think that film is great. the Freddy versus Jason movie is wicked, just because it's fun and it's easy to watch. But the fact that he's a big silent guy and doesn't do anything, I need a bit of wit, a bit of something else. Yeah.
It's not fun.
They're great, but you're right, they're not fun because you know what you're going to get. But I want to again. I prefer wisecracking Freddy to horror Freddy, just because.
Yes, but the ones I enjoy, though, Friday the 13th movies I enjoy are the ones that have Tommy Jarvis in it, because I thought they should just kept rolling with that Tommy Jarvis versus Jason story.
Yeah.
And I know there was issues in there, but that is a story. When you put those two characters, together, those are the best. I mean, for me, part 4, part 6, I love both of them, and Tommy Jarvis is in both of them, and so but I'm going to bring up someone else. This big guy behind me on the poster with the chainsaw. What the hell is going on with Texas Chainsaw Massacre series? Like, it seems like no one can get that franchise right.
It works. Again, this is me being a horror fan. It works in the 70s. It works much as Poltergeist does. Poltergeist is very much of its time. Poltergeist, like 1981, 82. It's America at that time with Ronald Reagan, and it's kind of suburbs and that kind of stuff. To me, Texas Chainsaw Massacre works exactly the same, which is it's remote. It's that family of kind of off the beaten track a little bit. I'm sure America has that, but not a great deal anymore. Everybody's got cell phones, everybody's got GPS. Mm-hmm. You haven't got the backwaters anymore. The Deliverance backwaters, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre backwaters. People go, "Oh, we're in danger." I was on my phone. "Hi, I'm in danger." There's no fear. So having that set in the 70s, where things are a bit more kind of communication isn't good, and it's got that kind of urban feel for it. It's think about the fact that maybe there are places like that in the 70s in Texas. I mean, it's believable. I don't think it's believable now, but it's believable 50 odd years ago, 55 years ago, something ridiculous. Is it 50 something?
1972, I think. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so it's an entire half a century's worth of time that have gone, and the idea of people being forgotten, post-war America, post-war UK is exactly the same. That pockets of people that are just missing out. So it works. It doesn't work now as much because you kind of don't. I mean, I'm not saying a guy with a chainsaw is believable anymore, but you believe the context. But you believe the context a little bit. You believe the fact that could be a thing in the 70s. I just don't think. But again, please, horror community, don't come to my house and beat me up. Rob Zombie can suck it, basically. Rob Zombie touching any franchise in any way just ruins.
Kills it.
Stop fucking about with movies, please. Make some good music. That's fine. That's okay. And we know that
Devil's Rejects. I listen. I enjoy Devil's Rejects, but besides that, I'm not a Rob Zombie fan because I can't stand the characters in the movies. I can't, especially his wife, but I cannot stand his characters.
It's like he's taken. It's on the best of. It's somebody doing a cover version of things, but the cover version isn't as good as the original.
It's like the dirty redneck trailer park version of a movie. All his movies have this redneck, dirty trailer park. I'm about to say something else. I'm not going to say that, but you know what I'm about to say. But it just has this dirty, poor white. You know what I mean? It just feel to it, and it's just not for me.
It's like the same. I mean, there's you go through genres of films. You've got folk horror in the UK. You've got kind of highbrow horror. All kind of hereditary stuff and all kind of the highbrow horror stuff now. But Rob Zombie stuff is kind of trailer-ish. It's kind of gritty and sleazy and grindhousey. Somebody said he looks like Macho Man Randy Savage, but like the trailer park version of Macho Man Randy Savage, and I kind of see that as a thing. But you can make things different. You can do other things. You can show the fact that you've got a bit of a range as a director. And Sam Raimi, he starts off with his mates making a film with a cabin in the woods and a plank of wood and a camera and a shopping trolley pushing it through the woods and some dry ice. And as a filmmaker, you go, okay, right, I can see what you're doing here with Evil Dead. But he progresses and he evolves and he gets better and he produces amazing films and fantastic kind of visual effects and is kind of seen as a good safe pair of hands in Hollywood. And then you've got Rob Zombie that's still making the same stuff he did 20 years ago. I love the Devil's Rejects as an idea, and I love kind of the House of Thousand Corpses as 3 ideas moshed into one idea. So he's like got that idea and that idea and that idea, and gone, well, let's just squeeze them all together and make a film. But it sucks. But you're right. It's the I don't know. There's saying we've got the Sheen version or the kind of
Yes,
what's the
Timu
Timu version? Yeah, that's
it's,
it. Yeah,
it's just the dialogue. Paul, go ahead and get the boys. That's
it
every
doesn't
single
work, does
one.
it?
And he did that same rhetoric with Halloween. I'm like, but that's not how. Like, nobody in Halloween movies were white trash. I mean, I mean that's what
No,
it was.
it's
It was
true.
just color part trash.
But it's that it's kind of the aesthetic is that, you know, even his Munsters film, you go, well, it's Munsters and it's colourful,
Yeah,
and it's kind of, you know, but you go, well, you know, what they do in Shadows did it far better, far more intelligently, far wittier, and they haven't got, you know, one, your wife in it for a start, and secondly,
yeah.
that aesthetic of kind of I'm going to use please. There's the trailer park, that kind of white trash thing of doing that, but you don't have to have white trash monsters. You could just have. This is me coming from the UK. I'm sorry, but you don't need to have that. You can make the monsters the monsters. You don't have to have that same vibe to everything at the same time. But again, maybe it's just the fact that he likes doing the movies in that way, and there's maybe a market for it. But I think he's not evolved. He's not changed as a director. He's not put anything else in that is okay. Everybody has a student movie. Okay, it's cool. Everybody has a first movie, and then most good directors, especially most good horror directors, evolve their craft over time and become better at what they do. But I just don't think Rob Zombie movies do. And the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a great movie. The second movie is also great fun. Yeah, it's a great movie to watch. But stop messing with good franchises. And I think the problem is with his movies is that he's not strong enough as a director, as a writer. Again, please don't watch this, Rob, and come around my house. But I think there's nothing there that he's done that is strong enough to sustain itself without either his name on it or reusing or rehashing a franchise in some way. You've got fantastic horror directors. You've got people who are doing, Hereditary. You've got people who are doing Midsummer. You've got people who are making Jordan Peele has done a great set of movies. Absolutely fantastic movies that are unique, that are different, that are horror movies but contemporary. So, but Rob Zombie's like, it's still 1986. No, dude, it's not. It's 2024. Move on with the times. Make something outside of that schlocky kind of stuff that is just having to rehash old stuff. He's like he's like going back to an old pizza and reheating it. Sorry, and it tastes okay, but there's better stuff out there, and the original pizza you had to start off with when you had it is far better. So that analogy works in it.
But so the Halloween, the first Halloween that he did, I loved what he did. Part of it, what I loved was that first half of the movie, right? The first half of that movie, but by the way, I don't know why they what's his name? Malcolm McDowell. I don't know why they did him as Loomis. I don't think he played a great Loomis at all. No. Didn't. But he also made Loomis into like a sleazeball, like what I mean, the sleazeball guy who's trying to get famous, and like that's not like why are you fucking with that? Anyway, but this movie takes place in Hattonville, Illinois, which I don't know. Is it Illinois or is it Indiana? One anyway, but it's But there's no, but I'm trying to think. But the characters seem like they're from like Berkeley, West Virginia, or somewhere. Like it's like it just seemed like this was like backwoods characters. But then, all right. So the first half of the movie, you get to see the relationship. I enjoyed that. The second half was pretty much my favorite horror movie, Halloween 1978. But like you said, it was like the Sheen Timu version of it, where it was rushed. And it wasn't good at all.
No, and there are people who are making and taking again the 80s, the 70s, and the 80s aesthetic of movies. The things that we love, the things that we've grown up with, kind of the video shop aesthetic, the films that got gore in them and boobs in them, and great movies like that. Terrifier takes that in a completely different direction. New character, new story, gore. He's making a legacy of a homage, dipping your hat to 80s characters without having to do the Timu version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You don't need to do that version. That version is better and it exists already. You don't need to redo something and do it worse. And again, the Timu version, the Sheen version of it, is that. And again, it's a shame because If you're going to re-image something, which is a bold new re-imaging of things, or we're going to reinterpret this, usually it sucks. I'm going to use The Wicker Man for an example. Wicker Man, if you've never seen The Wicker Man, is a fantastic movie. It's very culty, very British, very folk, very odd. It's got Christopher Lee in it, and of course you've got the version that hasn't got Christopher Lee in it and has bees in it, and it's kind of it's Nick Cage being Nick Cage, and you just go, why did you bother doing this? There's no reason to go back and redo The Wicker Man. The Wicker Man is a crazy movie as it is, and it's brilliant, and it sums up this. But don't go back and do something that's the worst, a much worse version, to the point where it's become a parody of the original. And it's kind of just leave stuff alone. Just make your own things. Play with the toys that are there, or combine the toys together and do something different. But don't do something that just makes you go, I've seen this, but it's far better, and it's 45, 50 years old. So do something else. Make something else. Make a Terrifier. Do another franchise. Do something else. There's a film called Violent Nature that came out. That's quite recent.
Oh, yes.
That's only been out for a few weeks. That's, again, it's a serial killer. There's some good kills in it. And it works really well because, again, it's the same type of films that we like, but there's a new villain. There's a new guy in it. We don't know. There's like a new serial killer in it. And it's kind of cool. Okay, and it's done from the perspective of the kind of resurrected demon monster thing, and it's a good movie.
Absolutely bored watching that movie. I gotta admit to you, but I said in a recent interview, I said that would have been a great movie if it was a short movie. Like, you know what I mean? That I think following a horror character through the woods for an hour and a half, I think that was too long.
Yeah,
because there was big chunks that I was completely zoned out.
Yeah.
It's a cool idea, but I think that has to be done in a shorter frame.
Yeah, it's a clever film, not executed perfectly, but it's okay. It's different. It's unique. It's done from a killer's perspective. There's a new villain, as it were. That's taken a bit of Jason. It's taken a bit of Friday the 13th. It's just remixing stuff in a way that's unique. And I think, okay, right, it's not an amazing movie, but it's certainly watchable, and you're kind of right. It is a bit slow, and you probably wouldn't go back to it again as much as you go back to Halloween Part 4. But you'd certainly watch it and go, well, okay, that was different. But that's kind of what please don't beat me up or anything. Rob Zombie doesn't do. It doesn't do something that's different enough to go, well, actually, he did something unique. A couple of scenes, maybe. There's the one where Leatherface takes his skins somebody's face off, and he stands up, and it's got the boyfriend's face on it. That's quite cool. Okay, right, so I can with the front of the car. And some of the things are quite creative, but I think really I've seen it. Again, it's not doing something that would make me go, "Wow, that's unique, dude."
He doesn't know how to push the envelope, and I thought he did that with Devil's Rejects, because Devil's Rejects was pretty fucked up. A pretty fucked up movie. It was something I've never seen before. But I want to talk about another director and get your opinion on. So I have, for the longest time, I have been a Eli Roth fan.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not anymore. What is your feeling? But I'm not anymore because I just feel like he's kind of making mainstream movies. And the reason I like Eli Roth in the beginning, because he made these kind of grindy, almost
gritty,
like
dirty block.
Yeah.
I think they're very much of the time. I'm using sort of films that he did about 20 odd years ago, and some of the stuff he did was right. He kind of pushed the boundaries of things. It was that dark and gritty, and again, it did B movies done right. It's grindhouse movies done through a new perspective and a new way of doing things. And Eli Roth, obviously he loves, as a lot of things we've been discussing, he loves those movies. He loves that look, that aesthetic. He loves kind of the use of physical gore and all those kind of bits and pieces in films, and it works. So his first few movies work really well. But then you're right. I think maybe it's just a thing that you've got more money. You maybe don't have to be so creative. You've got a studio backing you. It's maybe the tricky second album syndrome, that you've spent all that time grinding away to get those movies made that you're passionate and you're loving it, and you're having to do things, and you're there editing it 20 hours a day, and you put all these effort and the blood, sweat and tears into these things, and someone comes along and goes, okay, great, that's an amazing movie, now have $50 million to do it, and you go, well, great, I have $50 million to do it, I can get someone else to put these things. So maybe that's but that maybe is how it's worked. He's a good director with that, not without controversy, But I think some of the things he's been doing recently are like, oh, really, okay, that's fine, but maybe that's what they want. They want that, but watered down. They want the Eli Roth's popularity, because, of course, if you think about all the original films that he did, that they're not massive movies, good movies, but I mean, maybe they want that translated to box office returns. So maybe it's not so much him, but they go, well, can you do that, but not do it quite as scary or not as gory, and not as so you got that. Maybe that's kind of, he has to be tempered to appeal to a bigger box office demographic or something like that, possibly. So it might not just be, because they might want to go, I want to do this, and then maybe somebody's going, well, you can do, but can you just change that 18 rating to a 15, because that way you can get more people to go and see it. I don't know. It could be edited, as we do with studios. Maybe that's studio interference that are doing them together things that, So yeah, I kind of like him. I think he's a good director, but I think you're right. It's same as Sam Raimi, same as kind of Toby Hooper. They start off with this kind of really kind of grindhouse feel to films, and it's kind of there's some really good ideas. There's some really good concepts there. There's some really good horror movies that he's put together. But maybe that's it. Maybe they become old age adage kicks in, studio interference kicks in, more money. I don't know. So there's probably multiple reasons why it's it's not prime 2004 Eli Roth or 2008 Eli Roth. It's 2024 Eli Roth. It's okay. It's the Diet Coke version of it. It's fine.
Because Thanksgiving, because the last movie Thanksgiving, which most people love, right? And I say most people. But like I saw the the Grindhouse movie, and I saw the trailer for Thanksgiving, and it was just so dirty and just it looked like it was filmed on a VHS. Like it had a dirty look, the sound quality. I was hoping to get that. I really was. I was hoping to get that, and I got something that was beautiful instead.
It was a great. I really enjoyed it. I saw that last year. Thanksgiving is not that massive over here, but I did go and see the movie because, of course, that's been teased for decades, for years and years and years. And I really enjoyed it. I thought, again, another good new bad guy, another kind of new sort of ghost face, kind of that kind of, who is it? I didn't suss it out until of course it's him. So I won't spoil who it is if you haven't seen it. But it took me a while. Of course it's him. Why wouldn't it be? And it's clever. And there's some good kills, especially the shopping trolley hair pull at the beginning, and I thought, that's great, that's vile, that's lovely, I love that one. And the roasting, that's not particularly pleasant. So there's things that I thought, that's pretty close to the bone, as it were. But I think there was some good horror in that. But I also think maybe that if he'd had his way, and maybe it wasn't so big, and it wasn't so glossy, and it hadn't got so much money behind it, I think we would have got more of the kind of, should we say, the family elements in it, shall we say, the dinner table bits and pieces. I think we'd get more of that than we would have done with the kids and the teens and the kind of Scream-esque, because it starts off really gory, then it kind of goes screamy for a lot. There's some good kill. The bin one's quite funny, the bin kill, that's quite cool, but a lot of that's quite comedic. But then it kind of goes right towards the end back to being this really quite dark and visceral things of what he did before. So there's hints of it. But you're right, the trailer from, that's going back to Planet Terror and to so those kind of movies. Those films made it seem like it was going to be filmed on VHS, and it seemed proper kind of proper B movie. That have we never seen this film? Why have we never seen this movie? And that's
like
to
Machete.
Me, they're great movies. Do you like those?
I love Machete, but Machete had that look. That B movie look that it had in that trailer, and I was just hoping that Thanksgiving. I agree with you. It was too pretty.
It was very slick. It was very nice. There's CG in it. Again, why would you need CG in a horror movie? But there's a lot of films that I think really that kind of could do with that grindy old feel to it. There is some out there, but they're not amazing films that try and repeat that aesthetic. And try and do things, but they're not mainstream movies. But maybe people don't want to go and watch. It's been shot in 8K, and it's been rendered and perfect, and people want to go and see that on a big screen and pay $20 for it. People don't want to go and see a kind of VHS looking. I don't know. Maybe there's a market for it still on the kind of streaming services where you get kind of these purposely grindhousey, raw, sort of dirty looking films that have that kind of cigarette burns in them and kind of
I like that.
static has been
I like
watched.
that.
That kind of
Yeah.
it's,
Like it was filmed in someone's basement.
yeah, that's it essentially. Yeah, I mean things like Wreck. I think those kind of films did that kind of VHS. There's a film called VHS, and Wreck had that kind of dirty feel to them. But yeah, you don't want your horror too clean, do you? To be honest, you don't. It's like
No.
I can see everything now, and I want to see on VHS. I want to watch it, with the kind of that interlaced film kind of look in on your VHS where you're tracking, you would get tits up and things like that. So it's
exactly.
That movie was. Movies.
Like I agree with you. I'm thinking about it now. That movie was Eli Roth's version of Scream. I just realized that it was literally, and I was like, that's not what I expect when I see an Eli Roth movie, because Eli Roth's movies are they have a political meaning that is subtle in all his movies, and it's pretty much says fuck those kind of people. You know what I mean? The rich people and this and that.
Yeah.
But Rob, I did not like any of those fucking kids. I was like, I hope they all die.
That's like, yeah, you got to have a protagonist you like in some way. You can go, oh, wish they survived. They're cool. And you go, well, didn't like him, didn't like her, didn't like them. And there's go back to Dream Warriors. If you watch Dream Warriors, you're going to go, I like all those characters. Yeah, they're all messed up. They're all slightly quirky. But you like Kincaid, and you're going to go, well, that guy's awesome. The guy's a loudmouth and he works, but you don't want him to die because you're going to like him. Yeah. They're like taking away all the kind of nice traits of like an 80s final girl, using Nightmare on Elm Street again. Any of the people in there, most of the people you go, I'm sad that he died and didn't like that. But in Eli Roth movie, you would be that you want to know the teens, and that guy's cool and that guy's bad, and that guy you really want him to get killed because he's a jock at school that's kind of picking on the kid as the bully. But none of those things seem to happen. It's like they're vacuous, empty teens. They weren't, they would go, oh, he died like that. That's really bad. Or, that was a great kill because he deserved that. That's a shame. But there was nothing in those that you kids. I mean, I know there were some of the kids who were in that movie were YouTubers and online sensations and that kind of stuff. But you can maybe get me to do it, which I actually wouldn't recommend that. But you can get people doing stuff on YouTube. It's like you've not been to acting school. You've not been to. You've got to give a bit more personality and nuances to what you're doing and things as well. So maybe maybe it's just to draw in specific audience. That maybe I'm just getting old. I'm just kind of old and. I don't like new movies. That's it, yeah. I just like. I mean, those kids were in there. Oh, by the way, for anybody who is saying spoiler alert, they were in the store. Everybody, fuck you! I'm in here first, and it calls this big ruckus where a lot of people fucking die. So why should I feel sorry for those kids? Yeah,
I don't.
And again, maybe the same type of thing we just discussed. Texas Chainsaw Massacre works. There's no way you're going to escape that. You're in the middle of nowhere. You've got a set of teens that slowly get killed off because they're not stupid, but they're basically not kind of the most intelligent kids in the world, but also not particularly dumb. And they have got personalities to them, but they're in Texas in the 70s. They're going to die. You know full well in these new movies, I've got a cell phone. I've got my TV, and I can put everything online. Same as the new Scream movies. The rehashing of Scream. It's becoming films within films within films. Okay, it's very meta and well done. But we got our own web series of doing this, and I'm a web influencer. You go, maybe I'll just fuck off, just as a thing. And they're not liked because I think this idea of kind of, hi, we're going to catch a killer with our phones. I'm up to create back at the site, and it seems to be that it's like, well, if you set it like the Thing in the Arctic, you're dead if you're left. You're dead if you're in Texas because you're in the middle of nowhere and you're in the desert and there's a guy with a chainsaw. If you've got phones and everything Instagrammable and you're all trying to do kind of, hey, and that kind of stuff, it's like, yeah, well, that's nothing. There's nothing there that you guys are not doing that you probably deserve that, you little bastard. That sounds really bad, I'm sorry, but they didn't want them to survive. I mean, that's not really a good movie, but you go, well, you don't want your main cast to all get killed. Milo Manheim, yeah, he deserved what he got in that movie. It's not that just like me. Look, I mean, I've got a daughter who likes Disney movies, and he's pretty cool in Disney movies. He's in a good movie called Zombies, which is kind of fun. But yeah, I didn't like him. He was a jerk in that movie, and he said, "Well, if he dies, tough shit. I don't care. It's not a film that I really wished all the cast survived, and we've got this guy surviving and that guy surviving. Well, I don't care if they live or die. I don't give a toss, to be honest. So it's.
That's how I felt about Thanksgiving. I felt about Thanksgiving. I was like, I don't care about any of these characters living. I really don't. I mean, I know,
Yeah.
I really don't. Like, I hope they all die.
Like, cynical. Man, everyone, we just don't like new films. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not. But that's not always fun in a horror movie. Sometimes you gotta have one or two likable characters. You have to. You have to. You cannot have a whole bunch of douchebag characters in a horror movie.
No,
because if you do that, it doesn't build up the suspense. You're supposed to go into a horror movie and want to be scared, and feel feel concern over these characters.
Yeah, I liked he got killed. He was awful, but I didn't like him getting killed. That was really sad. Yeah, you got to have something that either attaches you to character, or you got to have some sort of emotive response to them and stuff in some ways to be able to put things together. And maybe films nowadays don't do that. Maybe they need to go back to the drawing board and basically go back and watch all your original horrors, but base it on, not copy. Base it on Scream, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Omen, whatever, and base these films on other films. Other directors are doing these things, but give it your own spin and make the characters enjoyable, likable. Screenwriting 101, isn't it? Sometimes to make your characters engaging and interesting, and you want to your antagonists and your protagonists and what are they doing and why and the reasoning behind these things and what they do and what's going on with them. And if you can't put that into your movie in an hour and a half, you probably failed as a screenwriter, unfortunately. Again, being cynical. Sorry about that.
Okay. Yes, no problem. Rob, by the way, where can everyone find you and your work?
Okay, you can find me. I'm online, so I have got no YouTube channel particularly or anything like that at all. But a lot of my stuff that I do, again, my book's on Amazon. I'm not trying to sell my book at all, but my book's on Amazon. Poltergeist. It's Rob McLaughlin, which is McLaughlin. So I'm online with things like that. I'm on Twitter. So Twitter. So I've got things that I put on there, but really I don't have a channel. I should have a channel. I should talk about horror all the time. I can come back and do things again. I'm happy to come back and chat more movies with you guys anytime. It'd be perfect.
Listen, man, I would love to have you on and just talk about horror movies.
But yeah, I should set up a horror channel, probably without the slightly not particularly horror background. I'll put some more posters up and that kind of stuff. But honestly, drop me a message, drop me an email. I'm happy to talk horror with anybody at any point, any time. It's perfect.
Awesome. Well, Rob, this has been a blast to have you on. Listen, man, you're more welcome to come on anytime. If you want your own show on my channel, you can have your own show on my channel, by the way. So,
mate, I can do that. Yes. If you want to do that every week, I'll be happy to do that every week. I could just talk movies with you all the time. That'd be good stuff.
We can definitely do that. Have a different topic, cool. And I would love that. Yeah.
We'll do that. Right, we could take movies apart. We can take TV. We haven't even touched TV yet. We'll do that again. We'll do TV next time. I
know.
TV.
Yes. Next time we're going to talk about the Walking Dead series and how
Let's do it. Yeah. Zombies. Yeah.
Just
amazing. Let's just crash and burn the entire show. We shouldn't be hate watching a show with zombies in, but we are all doing it, aren't we? We're all just going, just fucking end so I can just watch something else better. It's Game of Thrones and it's in its awfulness, isn't it, at the moment? So yeah, just finish it off. And go back and watch them better.
Exactly. All right, everyone, listen, please follow Rob and grab Poltergeist on Amazon. All right, everyone. Thanks, thank you. No problem. And everyone, thank you for coming to the Horror Realm. I'm Travis Bruce, and that's Rob McLaughlin. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Guys, thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'll speak to you soon, guys. Thanks so much for your time. See you later, dude.
Bye-bye.